Well, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jason Levine, and thank you so much for joining me for today's first masterclass of 2022. And of course, Happy New Year to all of you. I hope you had a great or relaxing, or just hope you had the holiday you wanted to have. How about we go with that? It feels like we haven't been online for a long time, and it's really wonderful to be back. And today I'm going to be talking about what is really what are your options for, sharing and editing video? And we have three different options for that. You could make an argument that there are even more, but really three main options for doing some basic edits and the ability to then share that video depending upon what it is that you're doing, right? So if you're just casually shooting something, you shoot a clip, maybe it's a little too big on your phone, it's 4K HDR, and you want to just create how do I take this HDR 4K footage and make it into something that I can share easily on Facebook or Twitter? We're going to start with Creative Cloud Express. We're going to get into that in just a minute. Then we're going to cover a little bit of Premiere Rush. So that's kind of the next level up. We want to do some basic edits, maybe add some titles or graphics, maybe some royalty-free music, which we're going to get into. That's what Rush is best for. And then sort of the toppermost of the poppermost, to use a Beatles reference, obviously Premiere Pro. And this is really allowing you to do anything that you want to do with video. So beyond just sharing, beyond titles and graphics and VR and everything else, if you're looking to do any kind of production, Premiere is the place for that. So we're going to cover all of those today. As always, of course, we're coming to you across a series of different networks. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to be in the live chat, you can find me reading this one here at b.net/Adobe Live. So that's the one that I'm following in real time. And as is always the case, if you've been watching the masterclasses for a while, this time of year, normally around mid-November, I just stop shaving altogether and I let my beard grow out really long. And I was going to let it go for today, but I realized I was looking a little too rough. And just to give you an idea, in case you forgot what that typically looks like. So here's me. This is exactly a year ago, almost to the day. This is January 8th last year. And I will tell you one fundamental difference this year with growing out my beard. It's a lot more white, meaning that I am fully converting into Gandalf the White here. I'm no longer Gandalf the Gray. I don't know what's happened, but I do know what's happened. I'm getting older. That's what happens. But in any case, I decided to clean it up for you today and let you see my smiling face, slightly uninhibited with a slightly shorter beard, or a lot shorter beard. Ricardo, how are you? Samantha 38G, great to see you too, and great to see you as well. Got a lot of people coming to us across the tubes. Carla Harmer, nice to see you. Amir, Tim, Reverb, Mike, Jack Watson, Bliss, Cody Bear, great to see you. Mustafa, Stephanie, Kim, Denzel, great to see you too. Okay, all right, so with that, why don't we go ahead and get started here. And as mentioned, we're going to start in Creative Cloud Express. Now, this is actually something that we just did a soft launch for about a month ago, second week of December, I think. And many of you will know this as, or you may be familiar with Creative Cloud Express, as that it takes a lot from previously Adobe Spark. And we're going to do primarily most of this on the web. You also have a mobile component, but the cool thing and the specific video features that we're going to talk about are specific to the web. So why don't I go ahead and click over there and we can kind of get started with all of this. All right, so bear with me one second while I switch over my screen. Okay, there we are. All right, looking good. Okay, so Creative Cloud Express. So Reverb Mike, I used to have Spark, now it's gone. So you can access this by going to express.adobe.com. Now, there are many things that you can do with Creative Cloud Express. Really, primarily, this is for, we have a couple of different terms for this. Generally speaking, any type of creative communicator that is not necessarily a professional or full-time creator. All right. So you're someone who, you like everybody, you take pictures, you shoot video, maybe you have to do some social posts, maybe you're a small business owner, maybe you're a guitar teacher, maybe you're a yoga studio owner, whatever it is, and you want to somehow promote your business on social. But again, you're not a graphic designer, you're not a designer. There are many tools out there that enable you and empower you to create cool social posts and things. Well, Creative Cloud Express does that. We have thousands, I believe it's 50,000 plus templates. And if you just take a look here, again, just kind of talking about the social posting and imagery side, we've got templates for everything, right? So Instagram stories, posters, flyers, book covers, album covers, YouTube thumbnails, the list goes on. You can kind of click through all of these things, resumes, invitations, whatnot. Again, thousands and thousands of templates to get you started. All of this, of course, taking advantage of Adobe fonts. So you have more than 18,000 plus fonts accessible to you via these various templates. It's really easy to create something visually beautiful very quickly. You don't have to be a text expert, and you've watched me here. You know I have font anxiety. So these templates kind of take the pain away. And actually, as I'm looking at this Vintage Film Festival template, I need to take advantage of that. Because just looking at whatever that font is, maybe someone in the chat can tell me, I just love it. I love it, period. I'm gonna make something with that later. But that's not what we're doing today. What we're going to focus on are the quick actions. And you'll see that there are 3 sections of quick actions that we enable here. Image, PDF, and video. So for imagery, we have, again, common quick things that you might want to do if you're not a pro and you happen to be on your desktop here, like resize an image, right? This is something I'm always doing. I don't need to send you the 4,000 or 8,000 pixel wide version of this thing. I just want something quickly, easily shareable, quick way to resize, quick way to remove a background. Now, of course, for all of you watching, most of you watching, you're like, well, I've got Photoshop. Wouldn't I use Photoshop to do that? Yes, of course. You also have PS Web, as you saw Terry White showcase at Max a couple months ago. But in this case, we're doing it right here, real quickly, real easily, on the web, simple, share it, be done. Convert to JPEG, convert to PNG, all right? PDF, now we just had some friends from the Acrobat team on our last stream of the year, or one of the last streams of the year. My friends Minu and Karen, so you can see right here in Creative Cloud Express, you have convert to PDF. I'm curious why we're seeing 2 of the same thing there. I wonder if one of them is like combine. Huh, interesting. Okay. And then the last, of course, here is what we're going to focus on, which are the video quick actions. Now, there's about, I think there's 7 or 8 of them here. So we have trim, resize, merge, convert to GIF, crop video, change speed, convert to MP4, and reverse video. So let's start with, again, most basic scenario. Now, this actually doesn't matter whether you're a creative pro or not. It's a question of what's the fastest way for you to be able to achieve these things, right? And for my money, there's like 3 things that I would probably use this for, all right? And actually have used it for in the last couple of weeks in all the testing and stuff that we've done. And those are primarily converting to MP4, right? And we'll get to that why in just a second. Possibly changing speed, okay? So in other words, slow motion or to kind of hyperlapse, speed things up. Or convert to GIF. Now again, perhaps you've shot, I was just talking with Terry White about this, merge video. Perhaps you shot a series of, different videos that you want to put all in one, you want to combine everything and then publish it to Facebook or Twitter or share it with someone else. Well, merge video is an easy way to do that. Resize video. Again, I think this is pretty legit. I shoot, now I'm shooting everything on this iPhone 13 Pro Max. Everything is 4K HDR. It's massive. It's ProRes. One, I'm going to want to convert that to MP4 if I'm going to share, but also I don't need to send everybody 4K. So this allows me an easy way to resize. Trim. Again, I'm going to be honest. I don't know why you'd go to the web to trim a video that you shot on your phone. I suppose if you've got everything synced to iCloud, photos, whatnot, they're accessible on your desktop anyway. The point is you can do it here, and we make it really easy. Probably a little less useful in my bag of tricks. And then reverse video, all right? Now this one is kind of an odd one because it's one of those things where actually it's a little confusing to do in Premiere if you don't know what you're looking for. So I actually like that this feature is here, and it's probably not something that most of us will do, but I like that. But really, for me, oh, and then crop, of course. You tell me. Are you cropping a lot of video? I want to know. I'm soliciting feedback here. Tell me if you're going to likely crop. I can tell you in 23 years, with the exception of going from 4K to 1080, which is not a crop, or maybe using 4K in a 1080, which theoretically could be a crop, I'm probably not cropping a video frequently, all right? but we'll get back to that. Okay, so let's talk about convert to MP4 and let's go through the workflow here. So I've shot some video, again, on my iPhone 13. I use ProRes by default. Everything's massive. And I want to convert this to make this easily shareable. So you click on Convert to MP4. You can drag and drop it right in the dialog here, or you can browse. So let's go ahead and browse to the desktop here. All right, and I've got a folder. And let's go with this one here. Okay, this is some 4K content. I believe this is our old standby, our old friend in San Francisco. So naturally, of course, it's going to have to upload that video. So we're going to do this here, give it a sense. Okay, Mustafa's resizing a lot. Okay, yeah. So again, I say resize for sure. Crop, I don't know. Little strange, but maybe. Levon crops, you're doing Snapchat videos. Okay, again, I'm not saying it's not. Now, remember, and we can actually get into that, there's also the essence of cropping or reframing, which you'll see in just a moment here. Okay, and for that totally makes sense. Reverb Mike, why not do this in Media Encoder? Absolutely. You absolutely would, you absolutely could. But again, we're talking about who's more likely to use Creative Cloud Express, not someone who's real intimately familiar with Media Encoder. So again, these are kind of the three levels. This is anybody can do this because everybody shoots images and video on their phones. All right. So when you do that, it uploads, and then it's really simple, right? So you have this nice little sort of trim timeline down here. So this is why I say the fact that there's a separate trim. I mean, ultimately, you're trimming and wanting to effectively put it back into a shareable format, most likely. Because if you were really trimming that video and you wanted to preserve ProRes, you would be doing that in Premiere in the first place. So here in Convert, you get a trim option. So we can trim the in and out, obviously, the beginning and the end. I don't need this to be 19 seconds for our little export here. Let's just do 5 to make it quick and simple. You also have, I like this. This is a nice little addition, you know, just to mute, right? So maybe, again, this is me shooting atop of a hotel in San Francisco a couple years ago. I don't need the very noisy wind blowing when I share this clip, so I can just mute it. And then I just click download. And this is then going to process, take that quicktime.mov and convert to an MP4 and then download it via my browser. And then from there, I can share wherever I like, all right? So we're actually doing this in real time. I'm letting it process. It's taking a little bit longer, which is a little odd today, but we're gonna let it do its thing. Yes, and Reverb Mic, because I have watch folders. Exactly, and for those who are wondering what we're talking about here, so in Media Encoder, and there we go, we're already done, but I'm gonna keep talking. In Media Encoder, you have the ability to set up folders, watch folders, which are watching, they're waiting for you to drop footage into them to automatically convert them to any file format, what have you, based on preset settings that you do in Media Encoder. So again, on the more sort of pro side, I have watch folders set up. You're not seeing them on my desktop now because I'm often doing quick conversions of things. Convert these to ProRes, convert these to MP4, convert these to MXF OP1A, whatever it is. You drop media into a desktop folder and it just works in the background and it's lovely, all right? But if you're not as intimately involved with that or familiar with that, this is a great way to do it. And you can see at the bottom of the browser tab here, we've got our downloaded video, all right? Whoops, no, we don't need that. Hold on, not that. Where are my downloads? There it is. I can just pull it out right here. And there it is. And you'll even see that it tags it Adobe Creative Cloud Express in the title to let you know that this is the converted one. Also, this is the 5-second version, but it's wonderful. Still 4K. Now, though, much more shareable. You know, again, for a 4K clip, we only got about less than 30 megs. So again, if I were to publish this somewhere, not a heavy lift, good to go. Okay, let's talk about changing speed, okay? Same concept here. So we're gonna grab change speed. All right, let's go ahead and browse. And I've got this wheel spokes one. So this is a clip that I've shown before, like when you can see the upload. Curiously, this is one of those things too. Why is there always that long pause? Don't give me the progress up to 50 and then stop. It's very frustrating as a user. I wonder, I hope some of our CCX friends or Creative Cloud Express team members are watching. It's good. It's frustrating. It's frustrating to see that. It makes me think as a user that's not working properly. It is working, but You can understand why that would confuse one, correct? So we're uploading, we're waiting. Reverb mic. Quick actions are not on the phone for video. So they're on the desktop element of Creative Cloud Express. Thank you for asking. LaShonda Jordan, what's up from Arkansas? Great to see you. Mike is keeping all the trim wisecracks to yourself. Okay. All right, processing. This one was heavy, I guess. It's also 240 FPS, so maybe that's why. Okay, but again, now we're in change speed. So once again, you have our little trim here, okay? And we can choose, do we want super slow, slow, and it tells you the percentage. Now this was recorded at 240 FPS, so I wanna do super slow. So we're gonna do that. And when I click on super slow, what you'll see is that it automatically tells you, it readjusts what the export duration will be, right? So again, here's our original, approximately 7 seconds. And then, you know, a fourth of that speed, now it's approximately 28 seconds, right? Makes sense. So perfect. I don't need to export the whole thing. Again, I want to just, for the purpose of exporting here, let's keep this about 5 seconds, so we're not wasting a lot of time. I will once again mute because I have no idea what the background audio is, although it's probably just wind. And once again, download, okay? And just like that, I'm able to take a video of anything. Doesn't have to have been recorded at a higher frame rate. That's the other key, by the way. I just happened to pull this yesterday. This was the first sample folder that came up. So I went, oh, perfect, I'll grab that one. It just happened to be 240 FPS. By the way, see, that one processed way faster. So, you know, crazy. And it's already done. And it's already downloaded. That's awesome. As much as I was just bitching moments ago, the export, once it's done, is actually really, really quick. Go to our downloads here. Let's drag it out. Let's go ahead and play this back. And it should be, ooh, cool. Right? I like that. You're actually now seeing the spokes, where before, of course, it was turning full speed. Love it. And the quality looks great, okay? Now, we're gonna show just one more, which is convert to GIF. So let's go in there. All right, and I just shot this right before, like it was a thing. Now this video is like 5 seconds. Why is this? I'm not happy about that. As a user, I'm not happy about that. Okay, now it's 99. Just make it move more slowly. You're confusing me. You're scaring me. I'm scared. Okay, we're gonna trim. So I'm looking at the camera. All right, so I can very easily, I love this, by the way. The trim feature for this purpose, and I think trim is almost in every one of these options, it just makes sense, right? So I'll make it so that it's a full, do I go back the other way? No, like that, okay? And then you can choose large, medium, small. So, you know, for most things, if you're wanting to share on the web, probably small. Now this was a great addition to this. Landscape, portrait, or square. So by default, it'll keep the native landscape orientation. You don't typically see, I mean, I guess you sometimes do now. Most of your GIFs, which you're usually gonna see on Twitter or Instagram, are generally presented square. You'll see there's also the vertical. I almost never see vertical GIFs. I'm sure there are. Seldom encounter them. So if you go to square, it's gonna give you square, but this is actually really, I like this because notice it has this fill screen option. So obviously what happens is it takes that 16:9 and rather than try and blow it up, it squishes it down to fit inside of a 1:1 aspect ratio. But you can choose fill screen and then you can drag to pan around to kind of auto reframe to keep your action in the center. You can even preview it right here. You're kind of missing my hand a little bit, but that's fine. We're keeping it square. This is meant to be quick and easy. Go ahead and download. All right. Without a doubt, this is the best way to create GIFs, I think, anywhere in Creative Cloud. Now, granted, can you create them in Media Encoder? Yes, because people always ask, well, can you make GIFs in After Effects? Yes, via Media Encoder. In Premiere? Yes, via Media Encoder. You can also make GIFs directly in Photoshop, and we're done, okay? There's nowhere where it's simpler, okay? this is now how I will make GIFs, right? I'm always telling you, nope, I would never use that. I would never do that. Nope, not for me. Nope, not gonna. This, yes, this I will use. I have already used it. It's great. Here's our little GIF. Quality looks awesome, right? What you'd expect. Very happy about that. Super small, right? Do our little get info here. 967K, gotta love that, right? Okay. Quick and easy, right? And as mentioned, depending upon, the other things that you're doing, obviously you've got your reverse and resize. I'll just go into resize for a sec. Let's grab that same video just for a second here. Again, depending upon the kind of stuff you're doing, maybe you will. Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the comments of the video. Hit me up on Twitter. Tell me, if you start using these today, which ones you're really liking, which ones are working for you, which ones you might want to see, right? We used a lot of our internal and external beta team and testers to kind of give us some of these suggestions. So these were customer suggestions, but what do you want? We'd love to see that. Now in resize, I'm just pointing this one out because people were talking about it. I really love the way we did this because first of all, you'll see that it has presets for essentially all of your favorite social destinations here. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Snapchat, TikTok, or a custom one. I got it, I will give credit where credit is due. Awesome UI UX for this one simple dropdown. Like, yep, this is exactly perfect. Because again, for we in the pro space, we're going, well, if I want Instagram, maybe I'll want 1-to-1, or maybe I'll want 5x4, maybe I want 16x9, or if I'm TikTok, I know I want 9x16, or if I'm Pinterest, I want blah, blah, blah. But if you're not thinking that way, because you don't do that all the time, you have no idea. So this way I say, I know I want to go to Instagram, and I go to Instagram and I say, okay, there's the 1-to-1, there's 4-to-5. Oh, cool, look at all the IGTV, like everything is there. Again, same with TikTok. There's only the one because that's the way it is. Pinterest, is it square? Yep, 2-to-3, 1-to-1, 9-to-16. So I love the way we did this. And then you'll also see that you have, again, based on the aspect ratio that you choose, you've got a scale slider. I think this is a really nice addition. I saw someone on Twitter say, that seems like weird that you're scaling. What mode is it using? Well, what do you care, right? And then you can drag around, again, horizontally to move it in or out of frame, however you like. I think that's really great. You've got your trim bar, download, quick resize, all right? So Creative Cloud Express, if you're not a video pro, but you need to do a little bit of marketing, or again, heck with marketing. You're just a person who wants to share videos or images, and you want to do some resizing, you want to remove a background, you want to crop, you want to do any of these kind of things, you want to make GIFs. Absolute winner of this for video. Best way to make a GIF, Creative Cloud Express. There, I said it. Mic drop. Okay, let's move on down here. Z by HP. This is mind-blowing. I thought I had to fight with Photoshop and Media Encoder. Yes, Z by HP. That is exactly the feedback I wanted to hear. Thank you for that unsolicited piece of awesomeness. That's absolutely it, though, right? That's absolutely it. Mustafa, internet upload speed. Mustafa, I don't want to tell you that because... So I have fiber here. I'm joking, of course I will tell you. I have fiber. So it's approximately, because I'm also Ethernetted in, it's approximately 900 megabits up. In fact, I just did the test the other day, and yeah, it's solid. So obviously, yes, that's going to affect that processing time, right? No question. Good, legit cue. All right. What's up, William Polk? Golden Rose, how are you? Choosy moms prefer GIF. Nice one there. Reverb Mike. Okay, so let's move on now to Premiere Rush. Okay. Now, we did a lot of work in Rush earlier last year for various things, and you may recall part of that process during the pandemic, 2020, the beginning of the pandemic, was allowing my then younger, he's older now, well, yeah, of course, aren't we all, my younger son to start editing and doing videos and gaming videos and stuff. But this is the next step up, right? So before in Creative Cloud Express, this isn't editing per se, you are trimming. Trimming is theoretically editing. So yes, that's editing, and then sharing. You have access because you're downloading to your desktop, and then you can share wherever you want. Rush is the next level. So now this is like, well, maybe you're still not a video pro, but you can take that video that you shot and you can do a little bit more with it. And you can add additional elements to it, like imagery, like titles, like music, like fade from black, fade down to black, or transitions, or other graphical elements. It's that first step into editing and actually crafting a story rather than just sharing a clip that you shot on your phone. So this is ideal. This is kind of the basis of what you do in Rush. So we're just going to start with a pre-existing project here. I'm just going to pick this first one, which we've shown before, because it has a couple of elements. Maybe we'll bring in some additional media to show that to you as well. Oh, in fact, yeah, maybe we'll go to one of these Jason Pennywise ones too. So I'm just going to click on this to open. Now, again, the interface, it's a little different than Premiere if you're used to Premiere, but it's pretty intuitive, especially if you've seen the Premiere beta where we have kind of the new home, edit, and share options. Again, a lot of that sort of borrowed from Rush. You've got your tools along the right side here. I don't know if I'd say tools more as functions. And then on the left, yeah, I guess you have like some, whoops, I just hit my hot corner and I typed in my password incorrectly. Good job. I just typed it in incorrectly a second time. Good job again. Okay. You know, you have some options here. And then you have plus to add your media. And this is also where you can add media, graphics, audio, or record voiceover live. So already you're getting an idea that, you know, this is how you can bring your content in. So when you go to your media, now, first of all, it's going to show you the media that you already have in this project. All right. If we wanted to bring in more graphics or graphical elements, we can do that from here as well. You get the idea. Really simple. You can drag and drop from this panel nicely. You can also bring in things like images. So as you see down below, this is actually a series of shots that I took along with, I added a little graphical element here in Alaska a couple years ago, followed by this clip of a dog running. I think this was to showcase auto reframe, which we can get to in just a second here. But again, the idea is that you have a timeline, you can bring footage in and start making something. So you know what, now that I've said that, why don't we just create something new? So we're going to go to the desktop here. Let's go to stream content. We'll call this, give it a name, today. And let's just start by bringing footage in. So I'm going to choose this one here, and this one, and this one. Why not? Okay. And you'll see that as we do that, just as we showed in the Premiere beta, it starts building a little timeline down below to show you kind of the order of how those clips are stacked. If we choose to sync with Creative Cloud, you're going to want to do this because what this enables is the ability to, say, work on the desktop in Rush, but then maybe I'll go to my phone because I'll be at the coffee shop later and I feel like messing around or working on it there. If I have it synced with Creative Cloud, I can then continue to edit and finesse that video on my phone or on my iPad. So you almost always want that box checked unless you're doing something on the desktop and you don't plan to use that content on any other device, okay? So you choose it, you'll see the order that it's coming in. Again, you can bring in additional media from all these various locations and things. Go ahead and click create and it prepares and builds the timeline for you. It's really that simple, all right? Now, let's just really cover kind of some of the tools and things that you have in here, right? So again, up at the top, you have graphics. Now, you'll see you have this add graphic button up here, okay? Now, this is one of those interesting UI things because you're selecting graphics here, but as you saw before, this is actually where the graphics come from. So you can actually just access adding graphics from the left side. I'm not quite sure. Initially, it was only over there. This kind of graphics browser was added end of last year. I can't remember. I think it was for Macs last year. So a couple of different ways to do that. And then, of course, you have all the various things that you want to do. So let's say we wanted to add a title. So right up at the top here, you can see we have titles. Click on more. And this allows us to see different title variations that we have. All right. Well, that's kind of a neat one. Minimal, bold, minimal title. Thick and thin. Ooh, I like that too. So I'm just going to drag this right onto the clip. Or I should say, right over top of the clip into its own track, right? Okay, close that so I can just keep my UI nice and clean, all right? And there it is. There's our graphic playing very nicely. If I go ahead and select this, all right, double click on it. Now I can change the text, a day. I can change the font, I can change the style, I can change the color, I can add shadow. I actually like the drop shadow that's on there. It's very subtle. You've got all these different options here. Again, if you've done it in Premiere, it's going to feel normal. A day in the desert. All right. Very nice. I wanted to do a text outline. I could do that too. Okay, you get the idea. Make those edits though right there, right on screen, and they just apply instantly. You know, if you've ever struggled with, well, how do I add an animated? Oh, and it animates, right? It animates on and then it animates off. So you have all this flexibility with these titles. I love it. I absolutely love this, and it's just easy and effortless. If you want to have those titles linger longer, you just go to the edge of the graphics and you drag it out, and it's going to perform those animations without breaking the duration of the animation. So that'll linger on screen, and then it'll fly off screen with the same duration, regardless of how I shorten or elongate this graphic clip on screen, okay? So graphics, really simple. Mentioned transitions. Now I think if we go back to graphics, right, we have transitional things here. Transition graphics, we also have overlays, all right? So if we go into transition graphics, there's some really neat ones in here. Again, just kind of pretty beautifully designed graphical elements. Instead of using something like a more traditional, let's say, cross dissolve, which by the way, if we go up to the tools up here under effects, go to transitions, this is where you have the dissolve, you know, wipe left, wipe up, wipe. I'm a child, I'm laughing at the word wipe. Wipe left, wipe right, slide left, right, up, down, push left, you know, all of these things. Do we not have zoom in there anymore? I think we used to. So again, we make it really easy if you want to add those transitions. Also, this is what we call a magnetic timeline. So you'll see that as I trim like the end of this clip or trim the in of that clip, everything just stays snapped together. So you never end up with gaps. It's really, really easy. Really easy to make those changes. I can take a transition like this push down. I don't know if you can see, I'm dragging it over top of those two clips where they meet at the transition, and it applies said transition just like that, okay? So remember, this was a push down, so it's doing just that. It's, okay? I didn't say it was an awesome transition, I just said it's push down, okay? Now, if I don't like that, and I don't, I can instead use a cool graphical one. So how about this like block reveal? Let's drag this. Now this might be too long, but let's see. That's like a very, very long transition. So let's shorten that. Let's drag it kind of right in the center here. And let's see what that looks like. Okay, maybe we want a little bit more. So again, drag it out to this side, drag it out to this side, wind back, hit play. Nice, okay? Graphical elements, transitions, text, titling, right? Next level. Now also in these effects, you'll also see that we have pan and zoom. So this is particularly useful if you're going to be doing that, what we used to call the Ken Burns effect. All right, so this is where that Alaska project will be a good example here. So you can do this on all images, or you can do it on individual images, entirely up to you. All right, I'm selecting my images here. Okay, and if we go into pan and zoom, I can go ahead and turn this on. All right, now by default, it's just going to do just that. It's going to add a default zoom in, zoom out to all of those selected images. But here's the cool thing, and this was added, I think, early last year. You now have a graphical indication of where the start of the animation happens and where the end happens. So in this case, you can see that we're doing a, you know, we're pulling out, we're zooming out while also slightly moving. It's technically it's just kind of elongating the frame here. So we could say, nah, you know what? I actually wanted to start here on the birds, right? But end kind of on this wide, so it's staying slightly more centered. So again, if we look at that now, and let me get rid of that transition right there. It's just giving me a little bit more flexibility. So that's just a really nice feature. I like that that's in there. Again, gives me a little bit more flexibility with how I can use that pan and zoom. Something that, you know, again, if you're not a pro, you can do this manually in Premiere. We can just do the auto pan and zoom for you, and you have, again, that kind of start and end option, right? Needs a whoosh sound effect. Yeah. And we'll get to that in just a moment, Reverb Mike. Z by HP. Is that an agave plant? Yes, it is, my friend. We are in Arizona. Taste the rainbow. Cute puppy. I know, you can never lose with puppies, right? Okay, I'm just looking in the comments here. Okay. Agave DeVito, baby. Iron Butterfly, very nice. Funnily enough, Reverb Mike, I was just listening to Metamorphosis, their 1970 album, just 2 days ago, which has that song Easy Rider from the movie Easy Rider. It's a good record. Very different from In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, of course, but good record nonetheless. Okay. Also mentioned in here, auto reframe. Now this is a feature that was initially native to Rush. It's now in Premiere Pro as well. The idea here being that, again, maybe we want to, you know, present a version of this video in a different aspect, right? You can do that using auto reframe here in Rush, converting this to square or vertical or what have you, really easily, okay? And then what we also start to get into in Rush, as I'm running out of time here, that's why I'm going a little quickly all of a sudden, is that we also have color capabilities, all right? So again, up-leveling a little from Creative Cloud Express, you might want to start tweaking the look of your footage, okay? So first and foremost, first thing when you click on the color function here, all right? First thing you see are built-in presets. So as Terry always says, presets mean goodness. I love this. You can just start clicking through. And actually that first one, I like that quality already. It does something kind of really cool to the sky and the mountain range. Again, you can just start clicking through these, seeing all the various different looks. You've also got an intensity slider. So maybe you like the look of this, but it's like it's a little too much. You're kind of losing a bit of the contrast detail. So you can back it off or increase it more, right? Intensity slider, very intuitive. Desaturated, film. There's some really good ones. They've added some new ones. Ooh, they've added a lot, actually. Very well done. Okay, cool. Love presets. So you just kind of click through and, you know, if something strikes you, that looks pretty cool, go with it. However, oh, and of course you can also create your own. Do I have any in here? I have one that I made. All right. And you can make your own preset by coming up to the little ellipses at the top here and choosing to create preset. Now you can do that from a modification of one of these existing ones, or if you go into edit at the top, now something a little familiar. These are, well, this is both the basic module from Lumetri, which we have in Premiere Pro. It is also part of the basic module in Lightroom and Camera Raw. So the same sliders that you know for exposure, contrast, highlight, shadows, temp, tint, vibrance, saturation, and sharpening, as well as adding the vignette, they are all here. So, you know, I can choose to reset this back to the default, and now I can come in and I can customize this however I want. So I want to kind of cool this ever so slightly, maybe add a little bit more vibrance, maybe bring up some of those shadows, give it a slightly more faded film aesthetic. I'm going to drop the exposure just a little, increase that contrast. Okay, and then from here, I can say create preset. All right, call this AK01, AK for Alaska. Let's just call it Alaska 01. All right, And now, if I went to something else like this, I could say, oh, you know what? Let's apply that same preset to it. There it is down below, Alaska 01. And it just kind of adds that slightly softer, more film-like look to it. Love it. There's the other preset. Whoa, too blown out, doesn't work at all. This one works nicely. And look at that, you kind of reveal all this additional detail in the clouds, okay? So color correction. All right, basic color correction. Now again, we've got speed options here. This is effectively what we just saw in Creative Cloud Express, right? The difference is that now, on a clip, you can choose the range of how you want to make that speed adjustment. So maybe we just want the middle of the clip to have some kind of affected speed change. And then do we want to slow things down or speed them up, right? And then do we want to add ramps so that it gradually goes into the speed change? And you can see down below we have this graphic that shows kind of that ramp right there. And as we adjust the amount, it'll adjust the steepness of the ramp in and out. Makes sense. And just like that, you know, wind back, hit play. It's doing its thing. You can also make those adjustments here on screen. Okay, this actually should be playing in real time and then slow and then real time. So I don't know why that's doing that, but we're not going to worry about that for right now. Speed, we just saw it in Creative Cloud Express. All right. And then we get to, oh, and then there's also, of course, you know, crop, right? We mentioned cropping the video. Basic adjustments of the video in the frame, feathering the edges of the video, but then we have audio, all right? And this one in particular is cool because now you have some options to customize not only any sound in the video itself, and we're gonna go back to, whoops, unminimize that. Let's go back to the other project here where we have all video. You can go back to the video itself, or you can use music. Now, hold that thought for 1 second. I can't believe I'm doing this. Consumed about 15 bottles of water. You know what that means, friends. So we're gonna hang in here. We're gonna BRB. I'm gonna jump out as fast as I can. Watch this, here we go. Nothing like starting the first stream of the year with having to take a pee break, but you know, that's what live is all about. Okay, so if we come back to our little plus sign right here, now, again, we have the option for voiceover and for audio. Now, I'm not set up to do the audio recording. This will allow you to narrate directly into the timeline. By the way, you can also do this on the mobile version of Rush, okay? So you can record voiceover directly. You can record it here on the desktop version. But more importantly, you also have access to a massive library, which now has thumbnails, which I don't think it all had before, of royalty-free music that you can add to your edits, all right? Now, as I just told you, I will continue to use the GIF functionality because I think it's awesome. Hold on, I'm also gonna move my camera here, down over there. I'm a composer, so for me, I don't need royalty-free music. However, my little one that you saw there in some of those videos, when he was editing, he's like, hey, Dad, can I have can you record something for me? And I said, well, this is your video. You do it. That's the proper dad response. I mean, I could do it for you, but this is an opportunity for you to learn, so you do it. Now, he would eventually do that. He did eventually compose the theme to it's one of his videos, Sonic and the Chaos Emerald. You can check it out on previous streams and on his channel, Lizard Gaming. He did compose, but to begin, he started using some of this royalty-free music. So it's real simple. You can search by genre. You can search if you want specific types of loops. You also have, as you see here, sound effects. So we were talking about whooshes and things before. So let's see, what have we got in terms of whoosh? And right up at the top here, mouth swipe high. I don't know what a mouth swipe whoosh is. Let's see. Let's see what a mouth swipe whoosh is, because I don't actually know. Oh, that's it. It's very subtle. Let's add this one. Let's see. Is this one longer? Where are these things? It's very subtle. Oh, here's an arrow whoosh. I'm looking for something longer. Car wash whooshes. Let's go with that. It's 25 seconds. Perfect, very realistic. Point is, you have a sound effects library accessible to you, and you have a very extensive music library. So if we go into soundtracks here, again, you can search on, let's say genre. So let's say, maybe we want like ambient. Let's see, okay? Ambient heaven sent, ambient mist, ambient horror. Now I'm going very specific here, but I like it. So let's do that. Let's go with ambient heaven sent. Stick this down below. Now again, this is where I could go into our audio. I could adjust the clip volume. I don't know how loud that's going to be. I don't want it too loud. By the way, you'll see that as I adjust the volume slider, it's also adjusting visually the depiction of the waveform as represented by amplitude in the graphic here. So watch there where we just were. As I raise this, now you see more waveform, right? Drop it, less waveform. So it's a pretty cool visual indicator. Let's take a listen. All right, maybe adjust the volume of our car wash sound. Kind of works, right? That's it. That's a great one, actually. You can take almost any footage. Now, this isn't even slowed down. This would be a good opportunity to use speed on this one here and just slow this thing way down. Right? This kind of a track. Let's take it down even more. Oh, look at that. I can mint that as an NFT right now. Actually, I didn't write that music, so I guess I couldn't. But you get the idea. Lots of soundtracks. There were initially 1,000. I'm sure there are more than that now. It's great. They're from a whole different series of providers. It's different music than you have in Premiere. The biggest difference, of course, is that all of this is royalty-free, not watermarked, and accessible to you. Okay? So this is a very full-featured application. And then once you have your video and everything is the way that you want it, we make it really easy directly from the app to share. So click on share here, all right? And then you've got a couple of your favorite destinations. Now you can do direct publishing to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or Behance, all right? And so let's say we wanted to go to YouTube and Facebook, all right? Now, again, if I want to go to those, I have to sign in. But more importantly, when I go to my export settings here, by default, it has an automatic preset, and it's going to choose a resolution, frame rate, and audio configuration based on that first clip in your sequence, which in my case happened to be a 4K clip, so it's going to maintain the best quality. Now, you have other options if you go into presets here. All right, you can obviously change the resolution, so we don't need to keep it 4K. We could do, let's say, a 1080p. We could change the frame rate if you know what you want it to be. You can change the audio channels, mono, stereo, or maybe you have no audio, like we have the mute function in Creative Cloud Express, and then low, medium, high, because ultimately the quality affects the file size, right? So you've got options here, but by default, if you just leave it to automatic, Rush knows look, I want this to look the best and I want it to be kind of Facebook, YouTube friendly. So it's going to export based on those attributes. Real simple. Or of course you can just export natively to your local drive. Same thing. A couple of presets here. By the way, these are the same presets that you have in Media Encoder. Okay. But all fully customizable. Click export. Again, if you're signed in to those social networks, it'll upload for you directly. It's really simple. So I highly recommend if Creative Cloud Express is awesome for you, but you're kind of stepping it up. Now I want to kind of assemble a story. And by the way, you can prep your videos for TikTok if you so desire, for Instagram. Most videos are edited, right? A lot of them are just kind of directly to the phone, but maybe you want to add a little color correction. Maybe you want to convert it to black and white. Maybe you want to slow things down and you didn't shoot them slow-mo. Well, you can do it in Rush. You can do it in Creative Cloud Express. Maybe you want to add titles or royalty-free music or other graphics or transitions or transitional graphical elements. All of that is here, right, in Rush. And again, all of that is accessible to you on any device you're working on, right? So whether it's iOS or Android on the phone, iPad for tablet, or desktop, okay? This same project can be accessible across all of those, right? All right, and then the last step here, of course, to take it to the next level would be Premiere Pro. And this is your full-featured video editing application. Now, right away you can just see fundamentally it's a visual difference because, well, one, this is a short film called Century by my old buddy Mike Burton. We showcased this a couple of years ago. So this is the actual edit of, I think, just the trailer. And anything you can shoot, anything that you can do, of course, you can do here in Premiere. We don't need to go through all the elements. Here's what I do want to point out. Again, I think this is a progression. I think it's pretty cool. If you're intimidated by video, start with Creative Cloud Express and some of those really basic things. And then if you feel like you've outgrown them, segue to Rush and see, right? It's kind of impossible to do a bad edit in Rush because we have what's called that magnetic timeline. So there's never any gaps. Things automatically snap together. Drag footage in. You saw how easy it is to make graphics and drag them in. Virtually weightless. There's no delay. Super fast. You have access to all this royalty-free music, which you can publish without fear of getting your videos blocked on YouTube or wherever. It's a great solution. And then this is the next level. But what I wanted to start just really by pointing out some of the similarities, again, to kind of comfort you. That's one of the benefits of the Adobe collection of applications, right, of Creative Cloud, is that there's a lot of familiarity, right? So we were just talking about the color correction stuff in Rush, right? So remember I said the basic tab here, right? And then some in Advanced and Vignette. Well, and I said this is all part of Lumetri and Premiere. All right, take a look at Basic and Advanced there. Well, now here we are back in Premiere in Lumetri, and here's right at the top of Lumetri, the basic corrections panel. Got our white balance eyedropper. You know this from Photoshop and from Lightroom and Camera Raw. Temperature tint, all of your tone controls, auto tone. Again, recently reimagined, redesigned for Camera Raw. Also redesigned for Premiere, okay? And then under Creative, here's where you get like faded film and sharpen. Vibrance is actually another, Vignette is another module all the way at the bottom here. And this is the exact same Vignette settings that you have in Lightroom, okay? So this is gonna feel familiar to you. Now you have other things as well. This is also where you can add, remember, we talked about presets. So we have in the Creative tab in Lumetri, dozens and dozens of presets here. Looks and LUTs. You can also install or import your own lookup tables here directly in Premiere. All of these can be customized if you're looking to do like film stock emulations. We have lots of those in here. Those are all the Fuji Kodak ones. You've seen me show those a gazillion times. And you can do this, of course, on the clip level, really giving that kind of a film look. I really like that. Sometimes you just apply a LUT, like here's the before. I mean, it looks good. Here's the after. There's just something very inviting about it. It makes it look more 60s. And then of course you have all the various additional options here, including, curves, HuSat curves, what we call our selective editing curves, color wheels, auto toning, auto matching of color. If you're trying to match the color from one video to another, you can use this Sensei AI-based auto match function to do that. You also have secondary color correction. You also have, of course, vignetting. Essential graphics, again, not dissimilar from what you have in Rush. You just have now access to the entire Adobe stock library of both free and premium templates, and this includes everything. So it's titles, transitions, rolling credits, lower thirds, both content created in Premiere, and of course, all kinds of awesome content created in After Effects. So even if we were just do like lower third, just to kind of showcase to you, some of the cool After Effects-y options. You see right now there's like 84 pages of lower thirds. I don't have to click through them all, you get the idea. And then of course we also have Essential Sound for grabbing music. Now the difference here is that this stuff, which is provided by no less than 5 providers, is watermarked. So if you want to access it, you actually have to buy the license, but that's entirely up to you. But friends, that is all the time we have. So if you've got more questions, hit me up on Twitter, drop those comments into the various chats on YouTube, Behance, and elsewhere. Thank you so much for joining. We've got the Daily Creative Challenge coming up next. So until next time, have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.